Welcome back, everyone, to a very special 40k Rants. I am actually redoing, or at least adding on another video to a series I didn't think I'd be doing, at least not doing this soon. We were doing another Starcraft versus Warhammer 40k video, Protoss versus the Tau. Before we get started, a very special thank you to Sarah Mcfarland in the comments section of my Tyranid Zerg video. She asked for this, and since this was the first available lore slot for it, here it is. So let's let's get into it. So also, as I normally say, I try not to do research for these videos. These are meant more for fun, more for just kind of like a big what if, kind of throw it out to the comments section. Let me know what y'all would think too. This one I had to do a little bit of research. The Tau I know almost nothing about, but you know what? Thank you, Sarah. I'm actually glad you threw this one out here. I did a little bit of reading on the Tau just so I can get a basic idea of what I'm dealing with here, and this was actually a pretty damn cool read. So, now the problem is I didn't really have a good tit for tat for most of the warriors, so this will be generally an overall Protoss versus Tau. Because here's the problem. When it comes to the literal Tau race, instead of the Tau civilization, which are two different things, it's really hard to pair anything up to, say, a zealot. Or even, to an extent, a dragoon. I mean, I could probably pick one of the battle suits to go up against a dragoon, but the only one I could really find, even remotely close to its level, would be the XV8, and the XV8 would just ruffle stomp the fuck out of a dragoon, in my opinion. It's really heavily armored, and yes, I do know dragoons can eat through armor, but with the way Tau fight, I think the Crisis battlesuit, due to tactics and armory, would easily be able to take out a Dragoon due to its maneuverability and its ability to also tear through armor like it's just tissue paper. So, instead of doing that, I thought I would just do this as less of a tit for tat and more of a overall how I think it would go. And honestly, I was kind of surprised by this. So, when we look at 40k, when we look at the Imperium, it took them thousands upon thousands among like tens of thousands of years to get where they are. You know, their technology in 40k took them 40,000 years to get to. Well, probably more because it uses the history of ancient Terra. So you're looking at the entire history of the human race dating back how many thousands of years BCE. So you just add that on to whatever 40,000. So just to be a bit controversial here, but to make this really simple for me, we're going to say that's an additional 10,000 years. Which, that seems fair. Dating back, going to some of the, like, ancient Chinese, Egyptian, where they were, or even, hell, even some of the civilizations in the Middle East. Fuck it, 10,000 years, that's where the Imperium of Man civilization started, is 10,000 BCE. So this will make it roughly about 50,000 years it took them to get to this point for their technology. The Tau started off in the Stone Age and made it to where they are technologically in 6,000 years, and some of their weapons can not only just go tit for tat with the Imperium, some of their weapons are actually superior. The reason they haven't overwhelmed the Imperium is because they're small numbers, and let's be fair, Imperium are kind of like even though there really aren't any heroes of 40k, they're the ones that can't die. And for anyone who doubts this, then explain to me why in 13 Black Crusades, even with Felbadon leading them, how the entire forces of chaos, well, not the entire forces, but a good chunk of the forces of chaos couldn't do more than get past fucking Cadia after 13 Black Crusades. Sorry. As much as I rag on the Ultramarines frame plot armor, the Imperium itself kind of has plot armor itself. Let's not split hairs. So, I really do think that the only reason that the Tau aren't a bigger threat is because of said plot armor. But also, something a little interesting here. I think they're meant to stay small because of the way they evolve. Because they work in kind of like small hunting groups, even in warfare, which I think is a really cool concept. So, yeah, I think if we take all the plot armor out of it, realistically, I do think they would be a bigger threat, but not much bigger, only because of their small numbers. Now, if they were the same size as the Imperium, they would be able to take on the Imperium toe to toe, and in most cases probably win. But that is something for a different time. Biologically, they're weaker, but their technology is to an extent so much more advanced that it really doesn't matter. Their regular foot soldiers can actually eat through ceramide armor. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like, how do you how do you balance that out? Small numbers. But anyway, that is irrelevant to the point. So, how do I think the forces of the Tau would do against the Protoss? Here's my problem with this. I actually think the Tau would win. I have no problems admitting this. I went into this wanting the Protoss to win. Protoss are a really strong force on their own, and there are some things that I believe the Tau would have issues countering. But their tactics of hard-hitting, nearly guerrilla warfare, and once they get pushed to the defensive, they just retreat and find a more strategic position. I actually did read this. So just on a battlefield, not even like as a warfare thing, just on a normal battlefield, they would have carnivores behind a line of fire warriors, and once melee enemies got close, the carnivores would jump in front, and the fire warriors would retreat to a better position. So I'm left thinking, if the fire warriors, let's say that zealots are charging them, and the carnivores jump in front, and the fire warriors make it to a safe position. Granted, I don't think a Kroot carnivore would be able to hold off a zealot for long, but they would be able to hold them off long enough for them to at least get to a better position. I do think the fire warriors would be able to get through the power armor of the Protoss, because they can get through the power armor of Astartes, even to an extent Terminators. And before anyone gives me this bullshit of, but the Tau can't really do that, they have fought off the, what was it called? I have to look this up. The Damocles Crusade, and right behind that, High Fleet Gorgon. And when I say behind that, I mean right behind that. So they are very hardy, and I do believe they would be able to stand to an extent toe-to-toe with the Protoss. I do believe, again, this is a case where I believe overall they're physically weaker than the Protoss. And again, in the case of the Imperium, they're physically weaker than Astartes. But there are cases of Tau being able to stop Astartes really, well, not necessarily easily, but they're able to stop them. They have the technology to be able to do so. Here's something else that comes down to for me. Two named characters, and I really wish it didn't come down to something that specific, but you have, and watch me butcher the fuck out of this, Commander, well actually no, I don't even have to say Commander, because that's in the way they do their names. Chasera, also known as Commander Shadowsun, And oh fuck, I forgot it was that long. Chasso Viola Chova Kais Montier, often shortened to Oshava, but better known as Commander Farsight. Now, here's the thing. Commander Farsight's known as one of the best Tau commanders ever. And if we're throwing all the Tau against all the Protoss, then of course the Farsight Enclave is going to be in there. I think he could probably step up to Artanis. I think it would be honestly tit for tat. But here's my argument for this. He has taken on Orcs in Melee. He has taken on, I believe, Chaos in Melee. Tyranids? Yeah, he is a Melee Tau, which is, very rare. But he has fought the Imperium. He has fought the Orcs. He has fought more Orcs. He has fought Tau. And he has fought Tyranids. So he definitely has a reputation for killing shit a lot stronger than him. Like, let's not bullshit here. Orcs in Melee are better than Tau in Melee, and you have a commander who's just like, nah, suck this, and sticks up to it. Like, he lives up to that. So, I think when it comes down to the named characters, there actually is a slight advantage in the, well, I'm not even going to say fucking slight. I think there's an advantage for the Tau. I do believe that Commander Farsight and Commander Shadowsun give the Tau a interesting advantage in the name character department. Also, with the Farsight Enclave, where is it? I am looking for. I can't find it. I had it earlier. I think it's under the Farsight one. Because Commander Farsight has a group of... Oh yeah, there they are. The 8, which is Commander Farsight, Honor Shasvri Ovessa, who is Earthcast, which is a laborer, which is really, really kind of odd. Let's not split hairs about that one. He pilots a battle suit that is less powerful than most others, but he also has a lot of AI suites in there that tend to, because he is kind of he's the Tony Stark of the Tau, and he has his own Iron Man suit. Let's just say it that way. So when we start to get into named characters, that is 2 of the 8. Then you have Commander Bravestorm, who is essentially a dreadnought of the Tau at this point. Commander Brightsword, who uses 2 blasters. Commander Shah Vastos, who so Shah Vastos. Sorry, I'm literally reading this as I go because I know next to nothing about the Tau, but I do really like the Farsight Enclave, so it's me trying to learn as much as I can, as quickly as I can. Is also known as a tactical genius. Ob Lotai 9.0 is controlled by an AI engram. So, everyone talks about the reaction time of a Stardust. One of these is controlled by a fucking AI. Yeah. Let's talk about reaction times. Eric Khan, or Arak Khan, with the XV805 Crisis Enforcer Bell suit, with anti-infantry weapons, which seems like that'd be useful against the Protoss, Sub-Commander Torchstar he uses twin flamers. So that's just 8. That wasn't even using Commander Shadow Sun. That wasn't even using any other leaders. That wasn't even considering Ethereals. That wasn't considering Dick all. That is just the 8 of the Farside Enclave. They work so well together. I really do think that when it comes to named characters, the Tau have that advantage. Another issue that I could see the Protoss having is because of the tactics. The Protoss do have tactics split up among them. For instance, the Nerazim do also have a similar guerrilla style warfare. But if we're going overall, then cool, one sect of the Protoss can stand up to, or can have similar tactics to the Tau and be able to mimic them. However, the Tau would probably plan for that ahead of time. They would have their first few fights, probably take a couple of losses, quite a few losses. But as soon as they would learn what they were fighting, they would start developing their tactics, similar to Tyranids almost. The difference is where the Tyranids develop biological defenses, the Tau would develop actual tactics. And this is where I think the Tau would flourish against the Protoss. Because tech for tech, I'm giving it to the Tau. I want to be very crystal clear about this. I went over essentially Tau and some Kroot. I haven't even included the Vespids. What was the other race? The Nikasar? And then they even have humans from the Imperium. And they're in the Tau civilization, Tau Empire, whatever. So, as much as I would love to give a loss to the Tau, because realistically they are one of my least favorite 40k races, and that's why I know so little about them. Now, actually, let me clear up something I've said. The Tau overall are one of my least favorite 40k races. I don't really like them. But the Farside Enclave is definitely one of my favorite things to read about because they are not part of the Tau Empire and they are actually pretty badass. So it's a little tit for tat with the Tau and me. But the Tau overall against the Protoss overall, I think with, quite honestly, their superior tactics, I think with their ability to plan tactics around their losses. Yes, they will take the losses in the beginning, but I think they would turn it around really quick against the Protoss. I do think that the Tau would actually win this one, not comfortably, but definitely more comfortably than Protoss versus Eldar. I think that I think the technology, the tactics, and just like the named characters as well. And I really didn't use that one for any of my other arguments. But to be fair, the hero characters in Starcraft do make a big difference. And I usually try not to include them. The only reason I'm including them in this one is because the quote-unquote hero characters for the Tau would probably stomp the shit out of the Protoss ones. The only instances in which I would see this not being the case is maybe Phoenix, which is not really Phoenix anymore. He's one of the robots now. I forget what they're called off the top of my head. But I could see him giving them some trouble. But even then, if you have the 8 going into this, they're probably going to be together like they normally are. So I don't really see that being much of an issue. Because if the 8 are together, I believe the 8 themselves could take down Phoenix. I think 1 or 2 of the 8 alone could take down Phoenix. But if you had all 8, I really do believe that they'd just be like, hey, bye. Um, and again, with Artanis, with Vorazun, with Alarak, I think Alarak could give them some trouble because he's too fucking stubborn to die, but I do think eventually he would die. He would take a few Tau with him, but I can't see him being able to survive forever. Let me put it that way. So, when it comes down to it, I believe the Tau would absolutely whittle down the Protoss until it wouldn't matter. Because also their specialty is oh, hey, that looks important, let's destroy that. Or kill that, one of the two. And then, while the enemy are confused or weakened, let's just sweep them up. So, I mean, again, as much as I prefer the Protoss win over the Tau, I just can't, in good conscience, give it to them. I do think the Tau would win. But, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if I got something wrong, which is very much so possible with this one, because this is me talking about something I know very little about. So if I got something wrong about the Tau, let me know. I mean, like I said, I think I'm actually giving them the advantage with a handicap because I only went into the Tau in a handful of Kroot. And not even, again, the Vespids, Nikasar, or their human Seps. So, if I screwed up something, let me know. I would absolutely be willing to hear it out. If you want to see another one, do again. Actually, again, a big thank you to Sarah Mcfarland for recommending this. And do like she did. Just throw it in the comments section. I go through all my comments. Granted, by the time this video comes out, this past week I have worked 40, 50 hours at my full-time job. So, I'll still read it. I might not necessarily respond to it right away. I always try to respond to my comments every day, especially I try to respond to the new ones every day. So, I try and stay good about that. But I will respond to it, especially if it's a suggestion for something like this. I will absolutely respond to it and let you know what I think. And I will actually probably say, even if I don't think it's a good matchup, what would be a bad matchup? I'm trying to think real quick what would be a bad matchup. Just the Kroot versus the Zerg. Because I do think the Zerg would just absolutely ruffle stomp the fuck out of the Kroot. It's just a huge size difference in armies at that point, and yeah, I don't think the crew would last a second. Even if it's that, I'll probably do a short video on it, be like, hey, I don't think it's a good idea, but I'll do it. I will tell you right now who I think will win, but I will do the video on this. So I would absolutely have no problem doing that. I really appreciate the, interactions with the people in my comment section. I don't really want to say fans, community. I appreciate the interaction with my community. Be someone who's new to the community, who's been with me since the beginning. If you want, join the Discord. I don't want to say I have. I almost said it. I actually did say it. Let me correct that. We have an amazing community on the Discord. If you ever want to throw out suggestions, there's a place there to throw out even more suggestions. Whenever I go to pick a new video game to do, I always put up my Discord for my Discord to get to pick for me, or at least to help me pick if I'm kind of between what I want to play. So, again, a huge thank you to Sarah Mcfarland, which I'm probably going to end up saying a couple more times, but because, again, I really do appreciate the interaction. And this was actually a really fun, cool matchup that I didn't even think about. So, again, thank you, Sarah. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope everyone listening to this has a very wonderful day. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!